everyone, welcome to my November plan with me. For November, I decided to do a breakfast theme. For the title page, I am drawing in 2 pieces of bread as well as just a bunch of different egg doodles in the background, which I thought turned out super cute. Then I decided to draw in a border, and I'm coloring this in with a pastel blue brush pen, and this one is the pentel one. And I'm also outlining that and adding in a bunch of lines just to add a little bit more of a pattern onto the page. And I left the title of this page blank so I could decide what color I wanted to do, because to be honest, at this point I still didn't know what my color palette was, and you'll see later how that was a huge mistake that I made. So now I'm just adding in some final touches with my black fine liner to the pieces of bread, and I'm also using my white gel pen to add some details to the title. Like usual, on the other page I'm writing in a quote, and to match up with this breakfast theme I decided to use this one that says, "One small thought in the morning can change your whole day." So at the bottom of the page, I added in a frying pan with an egg as well as some sausages, and I think it turned out super cute. To finish off this page, I added some smoke detailing with a light gray marker. So now I am moving on into the monthly spread. So for the outlines of the calendar, I'm using my 08 micron fine liner like I usually do, but instead of putting the title at the top this time, I decided to do a spread where the title would be on the side. And so I'm splitting up my calendar into 2 sections. On the left side it has 5 boxes, and on the right side it has 2. So for the title of this page, I'm drawing in an illustration of a plate of pancakes as well as a jug of maple syrup being poured on top of it, and that is where my title is gonna go. I'm coloring in these pancakes with a tan marker, but I'm leaving in some white spaces just because pancakes aren't just a single color. So this is where I messed up. As you can see here, none of these colors were used in my last spread, and so it really doesn't go together at all. It seems that it's from a different spread, a different theme, and it just doesn't match up. And that's because I didn't decide on a specific color palette to use. I thought I could make it work by having it have the same theme but maybe different colors. I contemplated for a really long time as to whether I should fix it or not, just in case, like if I fixed it, what if it turns out to be worse? So I did end up deciding to fix it because I was just not content with what the other one looked like. So I covered up the original pink sticky note with an actual yellow sticky note, and I just cut it out and glued it down to cover that up. And for the tape, I used some white sticker paper, and I cut out the tape, stuck that on as well, and it doesn't look like I tried to cover something up, which was actually pretty good because that was definitely what I was going for. But then I also messed up on the calendar part when I was trying to fix up those streaks of colors. I used whiteout thinking that it would work and that the sizing of the whiteout strips were perfect, but I didn't know that the marker wouldn't stick to it properly, and so I ended up resorting to my white sticker paper again. I cut out strips of that, and the marker definitely sticks to paper well, so that works, and so I repeated that for the entire calendar. So, lesson of the day: color palettes are important. Color palettes are important. Color palettes are very important. And I'm saying this 3 times so that I will remember next time and not make the same mistake again. So for this color palette, I ended up deciding on 2 shades of yellow, 2 shades of blue, and the tan color as well as the brown. So this is basically the final color palette that I will be sticking to throughout this whole setup. Another thing that I had to fix on the spread was the strawberries and kiwis. I didn't know which one I wanted to take away, like whether I should take away the green or the pink, but I ended up choosing to take away the pink from the strawberries, and I think that was a good decision because I definitely like how the green looks with the yellows and the blues, and in some later spreads you'll see that I will also be using a touch of green. I'm covering up these strawberries with some sticker paper again, so I cut out little blobs of sticker paper and stuck that over top. And to replace the strawberries, I ended up choosing butter, I guess. I think it matches up with the pancakes very well, and I definitely needed that color in the background. Finally, I'm just adding in some more details with my white pen. This next page is going to be for my trackers for November, and I really like how this turned out. This was probably my favorite page in the entire setup. So for the trackers, I put them into these bread-like shapes. My overall theme for this page was bread and peanut butter, which I thought was super cute. And instead of putting the title at the top like I usually do, I put it at the bottom this time. And I'm going to be drawing in a jar of peanut butter, which I thought turned out super cute. The colors match my theme really well, and it's probably one of my favorite doodles in this setup. But unfortunately, halfway through the spread, my storage was full, and so I lost some footage of me finishing this spread. But to sum it all up, I added in my title, finished the peanut butter doodle, and for the background I added in some streaks of blue and yellow, and I filled in the background with some peanuts. So for this next page, instead of doing a spending log like I did for the last 2 months, I'm doing a to-do list, just because I feel like in quarantine and online school I'm not going out as much, especially now that I have a newborn at home. My nephew was born recently, so I can't be going out too much anyways, so I probably won't be spending lots of money, but I definitely will have lots of things to do, so this to-do list is very handy. Well, this video has not been off to a very smooth start, but we are finally moving on to our first weekly spread. So for this week, I'm drawing in these rounded boxes, and for the 6th box, I'm splitting that in half for my weekend. For this title, I'm using all lowercase letters just because I feel like it gives it a very cute feel, and I'm also adding in some streaks with my 2 shades of yellow. Days of the week, I'm writing it all in cursive with my black brush pen, and I'm also going to be adding in some extra details with the rest of the colors in my color palette. I'm highlighting some of the words and adding in some drop shadows to the boxes. And for the space on the right, I am drawing in these tiny doodles of eggs and milk cartons, which I thought turned out super cute. To color those in, I alternated between my yellows and my blues. For this next spread, I'm doing a calligraphy title with a pentel brush pen, and I'm using the darker shade of yellow for this. And to make it pop, I'm outlining it with a 05 micron fineliner. For this spread, instead of doing 6 boxes like I usually do, I actually did 7, and I left some space at the end of the page for what would have been the 8th box for an illustration of a bowl of cereal, which was the theme that I was going for. And for the days of the week, I'm drawing in these tiny milk cartons to put in the dates, and below that I'm just putting in some simple lettering of the days of the week. I put a quote into the cereal bowl which says kindness always comes back, and the letters are mimicking cereal. And in the background I'm also adding in some Cheerio shapes to finish it up. And this probably is my favorite weekly spread for November. Now I'm moving on into my next weekly spread. For the title of this page, I'm using a Crayola supertip to do some calligraphy. And for these boxes of the days of the week, I'm alternating between my brown and my tan marker. Now I'm moving back to my title, and I'm just outlining it with my 05 black fineliner. I'm also adding in these lines and dots with my white pen, and this makes it look more cartoony and makes it look kind of shiny. I am filling up this background with more doodles of eggs, and I'm alternating between hard-boiled eggs and sunny side up eggs, and I'm also alternating between my shades of yellow for the yolk. And finally, we made it to the last spread for this month. What I like about the brush pens that I'm using for this setup is that they're all dual tipped, which means that one end is a brush pen and the other end is more of a finer marker, and I think that comes in super handy. So for this title I ended up using a yellow, and I lettered it with this round block letter font, which I think turned out super cute. To put in the dates for the spread, I'm coloring in these circles with black, and I'm using my white pen to put the dates over top. And again, this kind of makes it look like a chalkboard, which I really like. And in the middle, I am drawing in this illustration of a plate of waffles. So that chalkboard and waffles look kind of gives me that morning, like that brunch cafe kind of vibe. So for the waffles, I'm coloring it in with this tan marker, and for the tiny squares inside, I'm just going over it a few times with that same tan marker to give it that depth. And I'm also drawing in some syrup as well as some butter. So behind this plate, I'm drawing in a towel or a placemat, and I'm taking my pastel blue pen and I'm adding in some details, adding in a pattern to the towel. Here I'm just adding in some final touches to the spread. I am adding in these drop shadows as well as these tiny details on top of these circles, and finally adding in some highlights with the white pen. So here's the final flip through for the entire setup. I really liked how this turned out, and I'm also very glad that I changed that page because as you can see, it just looks a lot more cohesive. So again, lesson of the day, color palettes are very important. I appreciate it if you've made it this far into the video. Please comment down below which one was your favorite spread, or what other themes do you want to see me do. Next month is December, which is the Christmas month, so what themes do you guys have in mind? Be sure to let me know. Thank you again, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you guys in my next video.